He pulled out a strand of hair and carefully placed it into a pressure cooker. The water in the pot instantly started boiling, and he connected the electrodes, stepping back a few paces before pressing the switch with force. The whole house shook, and once again, the experiment failed. Frustrated, he kicked the equipment, and the sharp pain made him scream out. But just as he was about to leave, the pressure cooker suddenly began to smoke. He turned back and opened the lid, only to be stunned by what he saw. A green, rubbery substance slowly poking its head out of the pot. Carefully, he reached out and touched the substance, which quickly rolled into his hand like a living thing. As he squeezed it, the rubber mass morphed into different shapes. First, it became a cube, then it transformed into a balloon dog. He tested its elasticity by pulling it apart with both hands, accidentally pressing his face into it, amazed by how incredibly pliable it was. To celebrate his successful experiment, he asked his robot, Buddy, to take a photo. As soon as the flash went off, the rubber object was startled and flew out of the window, transforming into countless small particles that began to cause chaos in the neighbor's house. They even picked up ink and effortlessly drew the Mona Lisa. Eventually, the particles gathered together and flew back into his hand. Jack was thrilled with his invention, but he had forgotten that today was his wedding day. His fiancée, Amy, had waited all day at the church. Her tears long dried, but Jack never showed up. The next day, he finally arrived at work late, rushing to explain to Amy that his new invention could save the school. However, Amy wasn't interested. In an attempt to prove his worth, Jack stuffed the rubber object into his pocket and prepared to jump off a building to test its abilities. But at the crucial moment, the rubber object flew out first, and Jack nearly crashed to the ground. Back in the lab, Jack combined the rubber object's properties with a car, and to his amazement, the car could fly. He drove the flying car to Amy's rooftop, but just then, the principal, who was planning to buy the school, beat him to it. The principal had long been eyeing Amy and took advantage of Jack's absence to launch a full-on romantic assault. Despite all this, Amy turned her face away, rejecting him. The disappointed principal decided to make a bet. The two schools would face off in a basketball game. If Amy's school won, he would abandon the acquisition. But if his school won, Amy would have to go on vacation with him. Jack, of course, knew exactly what the principal was up to. As soon as Amy walked into the room, he threw an apple at the principal, knocking him to the ground. However, this act of revenge didn't change the game's outcome. Jack then went to the basketball court, sprinkling the rubber substance's liquid on the ball. He gently tapped it, and the ball bounced uncontrollably in every direction. To catch the ball, Jack sprayed some liquid on the soles of his shoes, but as soon as he put his foot down, he couldn't stop bouncing. After bouncing for half an hour, Jack finally collapsed on the ground. With this test, he had mastered the use of the rubber substance, and his next step was to put it into production.